Wow. Tonight has been mad. Tonight isn't making any sense. The stories have been dropping left, right, and center, updating on the fly. Everything's happening in real time right now. And you guys, you saw the title. You know why you clicked on this video. We are on the verge right now of capturing and signing Raphinha from Leeds for £55 million. Finally, our window is finally starting. Moves are happening. Todd Bowley's come through and he's wasting no time. Learn all the biggest developments and updates on the massive story tonight, as I guess now we have to wait and embrace ourselves for our new signing now in Raphinha. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you're happy with the signing of Raphinha, then smash the hell out of this like button. I need to be ambitious this time. I'm going to say 5k likes. 5k likes, let's see it. Don't do it for me, do it for Raphinha. So without wasting any more time. Now, every single solid, reputable, big journalist has been breaking this story. Matt Law, Romano, Steinberg, everyone. And this story has been evolving and updating literally like over the past few hours as this video is coming out right now. And from looking to rival our interests in making a bid for Raphinha from Arsenal, who had their first bid rejected by Leeds, it has now evolved so quickly to the point now that we are on the verge of capturing Raphinha for 55 million, and we are actively having discussions with his agent, who is our former player in Deco. So, I need to calm down. I'm getting a bit too gassed. Let me just break down this news as things develop so you guys have an understanding of what the hell actually happened today. So basically, right now we are on the brink of signing Raphinha. Of course, it's going to be around 55 million plus add-ons and fees on top, of course, to bring up the overall value to around 60 to 65 million pounds. It's a ton of money. Things would have been completely different if Leeds got relegated this season, for example. Raphinha's going for half the price, and actually Leeds boosted the value for the player so much due to the amount of interest he was garnering from massive clubs like us, Barca, etc. We have already agreed personal terms now with the player. That's been concluded, and just the haste and speed behind how we're moving right now, I'm not used to it as a Chelsea fan, to keep things real with you. So at this point in time, Raheem Sterling and Raphinha are set to become our new players, literally probably within the next week. So this means that we are capturing both players for around £105 million, and of course there'll be add-ons on top as well. However, Tuchel, who is having an active role throughout this summer, he decides ultimately who gets to become part of the squad. He's the one who pushed Raphinha in the end, and essentially Tuchel wants a 1v1 specialist in the team. That is a profile that we don't necessarily have, even though we do have certain players who we actually haven't really got to see utilize that 1v1 skill. But Raphinha is a bit different. I mean, not too different, but different enough where you could actually add something to the team. So right now, all we are doing currently is finalizing talks with the player. Of course, ideally he was holding out for Barcelona, but that was essentially going to depend on the fact that Ousmane Dembele had to leave them first. At this point, I'm going to talk about Dembele afterwards at the end of this video, not right now. I don't want to get things too jumbled up right now. But the fact that we have made an active move now to get the deal done as fast as possible, maybe this gives us a big indication behind the reality with Dembele that maybe he might not be signed, and maybe he's deciding now to commit to staying at Barcelona. I mean, it must be peak if you're an Arsenal fan, but to be honest, you got Gabriel Jesus, you can't be getting everyone. Raphinha, of course, we already know. Barca was his first option and we were his second option, so this is common sense really. I mean, we've got Champions League football, we have a big opportunity to give the player the chance to win silverware as well too. And if you want to be like a main part of that Brazilian national team, when you're playing for big clubs, playing week in, week out, that makes the biggest difference. Now, unless some madness comes out from nowhere, like Dembele all of a sudden decides, listen, I'm leaving Barcelona, and then, I don't know, they're able to sell players like Longley and De Jong quite quickly. Who knows if that could tempt Raphinha, but at this point in time, that does not seem to be the reality, and Raphinha seems set to becoming Thomas Tuchel's player for next season. How do you guys think about this story? I mean, this is a player that got like 11 goals, 3 assists last season. He has been like the main talisman at Leeds United. Of course, he was clearly too good for them. No surprise that essentially like all the points won literally came from Raphinha, either from his assists or his goals or his influence throughout the entire game. So, wow, summer's really kicking off now. Sterling, Raphinha. I'm surprised because I thought we'd be getting a defender first, which still doesn't seem to be likely at all at this point in time. But it's mad how we're moving. How do you guys find the signing? And now let me talk about my thoughts and opinions and talk about how I feel the player could be used. So let's start off with the formation first, you guys. Now, we did hear things before from previous journalists suggesting that Tuchel, could see Raphinha as an option to use as a wingback. But as I mentioned before when I addressed this already, I'm going to say this again for the context of this video. When we used Ziyech as a wingback last season, we did use a 4-1-4-1 system where essentially off the ball, that's when things turned into a back three setup. So in that sense, maybe could this explain why Koundé interest might not be as essential right now, because Tuchel's thinking this, and I've got Reece James that could effectively fall back off the ball to pick up that zone anyway, and it'll come down to Raphinha and his willingness to track back, of course, and do his defensive due diligence. But of course, if he's signing for us, coming to a better club with better players, he's going to have to raise his game, of course, and when it comes to things like pressing, I don't think that Raphinha has any issues when it comes to being able to adapt to a more rigorous and demanding defensive role. So now that we know how Raphinha could be used, of course, let's think about the combination play. Now, Raphinha, of course, has a left foot, and that creates different passing angles. The few times you saw Ziyech allowed to play there, is it any surprise that he absolutely cooked in that area? Absolutely not. I'll talk about that later on in this video, but with Reece James creating the overlapping run from deep, Raphinha moving into the inverted positions as well, and of course vice versa, things would be quite interesting, because we already saw last season that Tuchel tweaked things in the final third with how he played, with the wing backs actually receiving in inverted positions inside the channels, and the wingers receiving out wide. I thought I saw great form at that time from Hudson, Ziyech and others. It's a shame that we weren't able to consistently see this type of attacking play. Of course, a shame that guys like Ben Chilwell, for example, was out the team, because when you lose out on that type of pace, you can't really play the same way with Marcos Alonso. So this is why we got to move on some of these squad guys, and get more suited ones to allow us to just maintain the same way we play and break teams down. But already I could understand how Raphinha would be able to adapt to this role and way of playing, where he'd still be able to receive the ball out wide in his favourable position, because as I really stress you guys, he is a winger, he's not a cam. He's not going to be receiving inside the channels or with his back to goal. Players like him, Anthony's, and I'm going to say Ziyech as well too, all similar profile and family of player, you have to let them receive out wide with space, and that's where their creativity comes through, because these are players that know how to score and assist. And for me, these are the profiles that big teams need, because you have to let off your teammates, play those balls in behind, and of course be involved in disrupting opposition teams' defensive lines. But then you need to have that finishing ability, that little bit of magic as well too. And of course, Raphinha has this in abundance. I think one of the most enjoyable, skillful players in the Premier League. He was doing big things back in Ligue 1. Is there any surprise that Thomas Tuchel would have known about him when he was playing for Rennes? Absolutely not. And you guys, you saw the clip at the start of the video, the way Tuchel was talking to Raphinha afterwards. It was like he was saying hi to his boy again from time back. So Tuchel knows this guy's game completely. And this really explains why he's, moving with such conviction now to get this deal over the line. So Raphinha is able to join up early pre-season alongside Raheem Sterling. As you guys can see in the lineup, this is a little quick potential one. I'm going to do another big video breaking down the predicted 11 for next season. That will come out next month, and you guys know how I gas it up with the edit, visuals and all that stuff, so expect a big video. But before I end things, I want to give my final personal conclusions and takes on this move. Ideally, I had my heart set on Dembele, but the reality was always going to be this: Barca was his first love, and the game that his agent's playing in terms of trying to garner as much interest, it feels like it just absolutely just flopped. There's no other interest other than us placing the bid today, and it means that Dembele now will be forced to sign a much reduced contract, which is half his existing contractual terms. So things have flopped. Who knows? Once his contract expires, if he doesn't commit to Barcelona, could we still make a move for him? I think a guy like that on a free, I would take him, Sterling, and Raphinha, of course. I think Sterling could also play as a false nine and play up front as well too. And then you see things a little bit differently then if we're moving on guys like Pulisic and Werner as well, alongside Ziyech. So I don't know, maybe I'm getting a bit too carried away, but with how this day played out, it's got me feeling a little bit more hopeful now. But I guess it simply comes down to this. I personally feel like the guys we're looking at in Sterling and Raphinha, they are of a very similar profile and molds to Pulisic and Hakim Ziyech, and we never really got to see these guys play in their best positions consistently. So I'm hoping that now we're signing your Sterlings and Raphinhas, Are we going to use them in their best positions? Because these are still players that have to receive out wide as well too in their starting position. I'm not saying they play wide exclusively, but receiving the ball where you're like literally, you know, the whole angle of the field is open up towards you. That's how they play. That's how they find the pockets of space to move into. That's how they do their combination plays. That's how they can make their runs inside the box. That's how they can skip past and beat their man. If you're like receiving your back to goal, you've got the pressure of a defender onto you, of course you're going to be playing passes backwards, especially if you don't have like proper wide, fast support out wide to help like, you know, create space for you. It only makes sense that so many of our attacking players presently have struggled quite a few times throughout the past 18 months. So, you know, we did see glimpses of what Tuchel was trying to do, and it feels like he's fully committing towards this for next season with the profiles we're looking at. But I'm just hoping that, you know, if we're signing different versions of like Pulisic, like in a, you know, better, more experienced, stronger player in Sterling. For me, Ziyech and Raphinha, I don't really see too much of a big difference, other than the fact that Raphinha is by far a better 1v1 specialist compared to Ziyech. But then I also think Ziyech is much better creatively, and I think he has more like spectacular moments in him compared to Raf. But again, I think that profile of having someone that can get past his man on the ground, if we're going to use him and Reece James to be like the main focal point of our attacks, that could free up space down the opposite flanks for your Raheem Sterlings to have more space to make runs into from behind, for Ben Chilwell to get inside the box as well too. So I'm starting to understand the vision a bit more. For me, I'm here to keep an open mind to see what happens. I have been kind of bruised by what I've seen from how the attacking players have been used from last season, but it does seem like we are going to see some adaptations naturally, and let's hope that is going to be the case, because I don't want to see like a negative Raphinha as a wingback. I don't want to see like Sterling having the same issues as other attacking players. If I was to see that after such large investment again, then there'll be a different video sometime in the future. But right now is not the time to be worrying too much about ifs and buts and what ifs. These players are going to have a pre-season and a proper ability now to like really just understand the system and gel into the squads. So you guys, on that note, that is the end for today's video. Raphinha, Raheem Sterling, it seems like the summer's about to begin. How you guys finding things? Comment below. And on that note, I'm Nini FC, this is BlueLionsTV. I'll catch you guys later with some more videos. Cool.